Good morning and Drshtikon to one and all. Good morning and Drshtikon to one and all. I, Dr. Hira Lasher, on behalf of Team Drshtikon, would like to welcome you all on 16th webinar of Drshtikon Talks. As you all are well aware, at Drshtikon Talks, we have leading Bharatiya personalities who share their views and ideas. We would like you all to have maximum benefit of these talks, so we would request you all to keep your mics on mute and videos switched off so that there is no distraction while the speaker is speaking. If you have any questions, you may write it on the chat box and those would be answered at the end of the webinar. If your questions are not answered, please, we assure you that those would be answered after the webinar via email. If you have further suggestions or feedback, you may write it us on email at drshtikon.talks@gmail.com. The speaker for today is Jasmine Madhani from Mumbai. She would be introduced by Kavya. Over to you, Kavya.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are, Kavya. Please go ahead.
Give a man a fish and feed him for one day, but teach a man how to fish and you feed him for lifetime. This quote, my friends, is the true essence of education. And beginning the year with the topic of education is a wonderful way to start the year. Good morning and Jai Shri Krishna to one and all present here. Today at Drshtikon Talks, we have amongst us Mrs. Jasmine Madhani, who would be addressing us on the topic, the Parents and Students Dilemma, International Education System. Now, all of us have heard mixed reviews about international education systems. Things like, IB doesn't fit into the Indian scheme of things. IB करो तो foreign universities में जाना तो बहुत आसान है. IB follows a very experimental and modern approach. Now, in the next 30 minutes, Jasmine Bain will tell you all there is to know about international education systems like IB and IGCSE. She will also be addressing far-fetched topics like the future of online education and are students equipped to excel in this technology-dominated world? Which is why I think it's a great idea to fasten your seatbelts and take some notes because, after all, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Now, let me introduce you to our speaker. Mrs. Jasmine Madhani has been an international school educator for more than 3 decades. She has worked for some of the top schools in Mumbai, like the Dhirubhai Ambani International School and Singapore International School. She currently serves as the head of Jamnabai Narsee International School and IB Continuum School. With a master's degree in education from Boston University, she is a qualified international baccalaureate workshop leader and has delivered numerous development workshops. Jasmine Bain's education has been from Bhopal to Boston. She comes from a family who believes that the true wealth of an individual is the education one possesses. Both sides of a family are filled with doctors, engineers, and double graduates, which makes it no surprise that she made education her profession. This profession takes her not only across India, but also Asia and Europe on a regular basis. She currently works as an IB consultant in supporting IB schools for the planning and implementation of a program. She also serves as a school service visiting team leader and is the IB chair of synchronized IB program evaluation visits. Jasmine Bain believes in the philosophy that 21st century illiterates are not those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. She aims to facilitate a transition in teaching pedagogy based on teaching for a deeper conceptual understanding. Jasmine Bain, thank you for being here at Drshtikon Talks to enlighten us with your precious knowledge. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Kavya. What a wonderful way to start. And hear from Kavya, I loved your confidence and your smile. Thank you so much. Good morning and Jai Shri Krishna to all my listeners today. I'm truly honored to be part of this initiative and I wanted to congratulate each and every member of Drshtikon team for putting these webinars together for betterment of our society. I express my gratitude to the Drshtikon team for giving me this platform they have given me an opportunity to share my experience and my thoughts on a very burning topic, students and parents' dilemma about the international education system. Thank you, Drshtikon team, and especially Prashant and Darshini for constantly coordinating with me over the period of last few days, or I must say, the last few weeks with this particular webinar. To start with, school education in India is witnessing a dynamic shift with the introduction of the international program. And as Kavya rightly said in the introduction as well, this change has raised many questions in the minds of parents and students. More importantly, these programs are unfamiliar. We all have grown up in the atmosphere, in the national system. So it is very natural for us to have those questions in mind. Together, we will today explore these systems so that we can take informed decision for future. Social changes and forces impacting education. The first and foremost comes to my mind is global interdependence. Interdependence describes the relationship of mutual dependence between all elements and the life forms, including humans, within and across cultures, environments, and the social systems. It means that decisions taken in one place will affect what happens elsewhere. Today, more than ever before, the global is part of our everyday lives. Interdependence has number of features as we are linked to one another formally or informally, to start with socially through media and telecommunication, culturally through movements of people from one to the other country, economically through trade, and politically through international relationships and systems of regulations. We need an education system that not only makes our natural scientific knowledge widespread, but also our understanding of different languages, cultures, multiple perspectives, so that our children are future ready. The next point comes to my mind is expanding role of technology. All of us are experiencing this in today's world. In fact, thanks to technology, that today, during this global crisis, we are able to survive. When radio and television came out, people were worried. Parents were anxious that how how these how these uh, radio and television, how these will impact our society, our students during online and remote learning. Today these are becoming the powerful tools to reach out to our students and parents. The advantage we have today through social media, WhatsApp, SMS, schools can communicate effectively with parents and teachers and provide guidelines, instructions, and structure to learning. The next point comes to my mind about future jobs. We are preparing students. We are preparing students for the jobs we don't even know what types of jobs will be available when the student for grade, say for example, the primary school student coming to middle and the high school, finishing the undergrad, postgrad, and when steps into the job market, we don't even know. But in today's scenario, when an employer looks at a candidate coming to them, what are the things we really look at in that particular candidate? Do we really care how much that candidate knows, or do we really care about what this candidate will do with the knowledge he or she has? I think that is what you would like to know about. The other point, of course, is about environmental concerns, which we all know what are there in today's world, which is also impacting our education system. Moving to moving to our changing world, what I have just spoken about. Look at on the screen what we have. How many of us remember this camera? Or from typewriter to the laptop. This is the shift which has happened, and we all have witnessed that. Now we have a small mobile phone is like a mini computer in everybody's pocket. So the next question is, what do we need? What do we need in the education system which will prepare our students so that our children are future ready? These are some of our thoughts, or my thoughts, which are seen on the screen right now. Definitely, we want students to be well informed or well informed minds. So, knowledge is important. Develop their creative as well as critical thinking so they are able to survive in this competitive world which we all are in. They need to know collaboration, how to collaborate with the colleagues in their workplace, teamwork, flexibility, adaptability. This is a very important skill which we need our children to be ready with. And again, the same example I would share, that in this global crisis, how quickly parents, students, as well as teachers, when I see in the education sector, have adapted to this remote learning or online learning education. Of course, leadership and communication skills, where school plays larger role by giving them those opportunities in school. And the technology and the media literacy is equally important. These are the skills what we look at in the system. So let's evaluate the education system what we have to highlight or to talk about international education. We have both national and international in our country, but to just give you few highlights of international curriculum so that in future you can take informed decision in case if you would like to shift to that particular board. So let us start understanding what these boards are. I'm not going to too much focus on the national curriculum we all are familiar with, but at the same time, would like to highlight that CBSE is the extensive science and mathematics syllabus. It goes through the conventional teaching methods, but they do produce good results. There are more than 16,000 schools in the city, and some are even abroad. This curriculum also helps students if they want to transfer from one state to the other. It becomes much easier for the students if they are in CBSE course. The next one is ICSE. ICSE is more focused towards arts, humanities, as well as languages. Those are their key points, and they do focus on the practicals in sciences. Both CBSE and ICSE is exam centric courses. So let's now look at international uh, international education system, which we all are here or gathered to hear a little bit more about these. I would start with the Cambridge CAIE, or Cambridge Assessment International Education. CAIE is a part of Cambridge Assessment, a department of University of Cambridge. It is recognized by world's best universities and employers, giving students a wide range of options in their education and career. The major part of Cambridge assessment, or Cambridge Assessment International Education, is it starts with the Cambridge Primary, which is a very new and it's recently introduced in our country. And moving to the next one is Cambridge Lower Secondary. Then you see Cambridge Upper Secondary, which are the IGCSE schools, and mainly this course is for grade 9 and 10. And then moving to Cambridge Advanced after 10th to A levels, or grade 11 and 12. That is typically the pathway of the Cambridge. This builds, or these I would say all the four stages are built on learners' development from the previous year, but can also offer these schools can also offer these as standalone. In India, you see majority of the schools will have the IGCSE program and A levels. The popularity these two programs have gained over the period of last many years. And if I'm not mistaken, this program is there in our country for more than 40 years now. There are over 400 schools offering Cambridge program and qualification in India. Cambridge partners with IAYP, which delivers the Dukes of Edinburgh International Award in India. Many ICSE schools in the city do offer IAYP, which is like extracurricular activity at school, which again gives the edge to the ICSE schools and the Cambridge schools, focusing on the holistic development of the student. The main 5 elements of the Cambridge program is starting with international curriculum. As I said, there are wide range of subjects which schools have flexibility to offer. In case if you're looking at the Cambridge IGCSE school, it is important for parents or students to have a look at what are the subject offerings the school has. Cambridge gives the flexibility to the students and the parents. Hence, it is important for parents to check that. It supports in curriculum development to the schools based on the context and where the school is placed, which means that, again, school has flexibility to decide whether I want to offer math and science and give emphasis on that, or I need to have the broad range of other subject options as well, or focus more on business studies, accounting, which are also equally important for the future of our children. Schools, they can tailor the requirement based on the needs of students. Teaching and learning, main uh, idea here is student centric. And because it is again student centric, ongoing professional development is organized by Cambridge for the schools and the teachers to be updated with the latest development in the area of teaching and learning. Main teaching focuses on application of concepts and ability for students to reflect on their learning. Next is assessments. Cambridge assessments are on application. There's never going to be a question straight away to define something. It's always going to be how you are going to apply the knowledge which you have gained in a particular subject. There are also coursework which are offered at the IGCSE level for some subjects, but it is optional. It depends again as for with it depends on the school to decide, and that flexibility is given to the schools. International recognition, these qualifications are widely recognized by universities, employers. Cambridge students can be confident that their qualification will be understood and valued throughout their education and career in their home countries as well as internationally. And I will be sharing the website link where you will find more information on that how these programs, IGCSE as well as A levels, are recognized in our own country, India. Global community is another element of the Cambridge program. And global community, when we speak about, it is easy for Cambridge teachers or CAIE teachers to make connection with other schools globally, to share what is happening in their classes with the others and gain knowledge from others as well. Moving to International Baccalaureate or IB. International Baccalaureate offers the continuum of international education, which means that the program is offered from PYP, that is primary years program, right from nursery onwards. So this particular program is offered from age 3 to 12. The programs, all the three programs, encourage both personal and academic achievement, and it challenges students at every stage of the program to excel in their studies and in the personal development as well. In order to implement the IB program, schools must be authorized, and they go through the rigorous process looking at the standards and practices what IB sets, which has to be in place before a school can actually offer these programs. Of course, the PYP and MYP program, the middle years program, are offered first or implemented, and then in the due course of time, the authorization happens. But diploma program for grade 11 and 12 cannot be started until and unless the school is authorized. Primary years program, which is, as I mentioned, starts from nursery to grade 5, basically nurtures and develops young students as caring, active participants in lifelong journey. This particular program is student-centered approach, which teachers will take in the classroom. It is well known as transdisciplinary, which means that we don't see standalone subjects. Instead, there are big themes under which the curriculum is weaved. It is also flexible based on the needs of the country. Schools can adapt and put the content in the framework what IB provides. IB started this program in 1997, but there are many schools in India offering the PYP program because of the philosophy what IB has with transdisciplinary approach. Middle school, a challenging framework that encourages students to make practical connection between the studies and real world. This is very often offered by the schools from grade 6 to 10. It is technically 5 years course, but can also be offered as last 3 years of the MYP program, which is 8th, ninth, and 10th. Towards the end of grade 10, students do write e-assessment is a board exam or on-screen assessment. In 2015, AIU, Association of Indian University, has recognized and given equivalent certificate to MYP. And now, if a student completes grade 10 from MYP, will be eligible to do any program and not necessarily do DP, but any local program offered in our colleges. The diploma program is one of the oldest program of IB, was started by IB in 1968, and the program aims to develop students who have excellent depth and breadth of knowledge. Students will flourish physically, intellectually, emotionally, and ethically under this. This particular program offers 6 different groups. And what IB says that it is important for the students to study at least one course from these 6 areas which are on our screen right now. So besides first and second language, they can pick up the courses again. There are many courses under humanities or individuals and societies like business management, economics, history, psychology, and many, many more. It depends that what school would like to keep as the subject offering to our students. Students have a choice, as I mentioned, to take one subject from each, but there are students in our Indian international schools who would not opt for arts, but would take another science or another humanities subject to support their career goals or for their aspirations, what they may have. The core of IBDP makes the program unique. The 3 main areas, starting with extended essay, which is 4,000 research work. It's a pre-university course what IB has created. Hence, students have to do independent research and write the 4,000 words paper towards the end of the course. Teachers will be mentor, but the work has to be done by the students. They learn research skills at that age. They learn how to do the citation at that age as well. Theory of knowledge, very interesting course, TOK, which is popularly known. And this is the course, is basically looking at how do you know what you know. Students have liberty to question in this particular class and have the healthy debate, I would say, in the class. And it could be, for example, I can give from branch of mathematics, say calculus. Calculus was discovered or invented. What was it? Now, students in TOK class can talk about that, do research on that, and then present their arguments to one another. Or intelligence is inborn or can be developed. These are the questions which students will study during, or these kind of thinking or critical thinking is highlighted in TOK classroom. CAS, which is looked at as the holistic development or personality of a student, which is creativity, activity, services. There are more than 176 IB schools in India, out of which IB diploma is offered at 139 schools. As I said, this is the most popular program in our country. Currently, very few schools are offering all the three programs. I would, before going ahead, I have a question for my audience today. And at this point, I would ask Darshini to help me. So, audience, what I want you to think about, do you remember any teacher from your school or college days? And if so, why? You have 30 seconds to put your response, a short response you can put in the chat box. And I will request Darshini to please read out some of those responses before we move to the next part of our conversation.
Sure, I will, Jasmine Min. Waiting for the responses. Yeah, Shivani, Archana Sampat is saying, for the values she taught me.
Okay, great.
And Shivani has to say, for the way she made learning enjoyable and interesting.
Perfect. So thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
Prashant says, I remember for, let me just, I just missed that out. I remember Father Kadbil for, just 1 second. I'm missing it somewhere. Yeah, for his stress on English pronunciations.
Okay, yeah, great. Thank you so much, Darshini, for reading out those responses. And rightly, what we are expecting, that probably teaching and learning methods are the ones. So again, whether right pronunciations or whether making the content interesting, these are the areas where we remember for longer time. And this is what the focus of international curriculum, what I'm coming to, is about understanding. Focus is not on memorization of content. For example, how many of us, if I say, remember Indus Valley civilization? Yes, maybe as one of the chapter of our history lesson. In IB world, the starting point would be what are start with river civilization. How do people, why or how do people settle in river valley? Or we can also look at what are the characteristics of civilization, and we can look at the time period it was developed. What are its attributes? These are the questions, some of the questions which teachers would discuss in the classroom. You are trying to open the minds of the students rather than locking them into a certain time period. You're looking at opening minds of the students with the questions which and the concept of civilization which they can apply to whether Indus Valley civilization or Egyptian civilization or any other civilization. And that's what we look at. This can be done whether with the PYP students in the primary years or in the middle years in MYP or even in the diploma history class. These kind of questions are raised in the minds of the students for them to develop in-depth understanding of the concept and the topic. The next point which I have in my mind here is divergent thinking. When we talk about divergent thinking, I'm again going to give you 2 minutes to think about or to come up as many users of paperclip, what you see on the screen right now. Again, I would request once you are ready, please add your number in the chat box. And then Darshini will help me again to read out those responses.
Sure.
Okay, Darshini, can we take if some responses are already up?
I'm looking for the responses. Yeah, someone has said toothpick. Jayashree Ben has said as a bookmark.
Yeah.
Shalv has said opening door that's locked. Prashant has said piercing tool, hairpin, toothpick. Shivani says attract metal. Dhaval says decorative pendant. Okay, that's innovative.
Very innovative. Yeah. Thank you, Darshini, for reading out those responses. And now I would like to share there are actually 21 different ways you can use the paperclip. And this is the power of divergent thinking. You're just opening, it's a very simple example, which I just flashed on the screen. But this is the power of divergent thinking, that we want innovative ideas coming on the platform or on the table for this discussions. Moving to the next elements or the other elements of the IB program, IB focuses on teacher training like the Cambridge program as well. One of the advantage here is ongoing, just not professional development in terms of their subject, but even the latest pedagogy in education system is well aware of are those workshops are placed because of those awareness for the teachers or to discuss that. IB also gives the platform for the teachers to globally connected, again, like Cambridge, to the other schools. And because the mindset of the teachers here is on collaboration, they can very well discuss the topic, what they teach in their classes with the other teacher, maybe sitting anywhere else in the world. And there is a common online platform on which these discussions can also happen. As I mentioned earlier, the accreditation and evaluation process is very, very important for the IB. So when I said accreditation, this is before they start implementing the program, but for every 5 years or after every 5 years, school has to go through the evaluation process, which is sort of like a quality check for IB in terms of what are the resources IB is, what are the resources school is offering, what are in terms of what is the philosophy the school has, what are the activities the school is running, how parents, students, all the stakeholders, management, what they believe or understand about the IB philosophy. All these things are looked at the evaluation stage or the process. And the whole community is sort of into the self-reflection mode. They go into that when the evaluation comes. The process goes for more than a year or around 10 to 12 months. And then there will be a visit by the IB consultants or a visiting team to the school to have those interaction and give feedback and the report back to the school. For assessments, what I would like to now do, request you all to just have a look at this picture, which is up on the screen. Master says to all these animals here, for a fair selection, everybody has to take the same exam. Please climb that tree. Just imagine what will happen to fish. This is what the assessment, what we are talking about in the IB school. When we talk about IB schools, there are various types of assessments which are encouraged. Myths are that there are no assessments in the IB, whether it is PYP program or a middle years or diploma program. There are continuous assessments which are there, and the different types. There are oral assessments, project work. There are some assessments based on the case study which are presented, or a research paper, or oral commentary, what they need to write in economics. These are various types through which a teacher will assess a student in the classroom, and then the grades are given. But often I do, as head of the school, get question, when should one look at entering into the international curriculum? First of all, what I would like to tell parents, students, or grandparents who are watching us today, that there is no right time anyone can define. When, as parents or students, you have clarity about the program, when you start believing in this philosophy, I think that would be the right time or the stage to enter into the system. Just remember, in IGCSE, the last 2 years, that is grade 9 and 10, students are focused towards the board exam. So ideally, if student will walk into grade 8, which is a checkpoint to see whether students are ready for Cambridge IGCSE program, it will be a good time for a student to go into the Cambridge program. Or for MYP, that is middle years program of IB, student may enter again in grade 8, because again, last 2 years will focus towards e-assessment, which is another component, or the board exam, which students take towards the end of grade 10. The other question definitely in minds of all the parents and students will be, what happens after 12? They have learned this way of studying. Will they be able to cope up in future for future studies or anywhere else in India or abroad? But what we need to remember that IBDP is IBDP focuses on personal, professional, as well as the academic development of the students. If that's the case, these children are definitely ready to step after grade 12, wherever, wherever their career will take them to, or wherever their aspirations are. Just to give you an example, or just to highlight a little bit more, in India, Delhi University, Mumbai University, Christ University, Bangalore, Ashoka University, Flame, Kriya, design schools, to name some of these few schools in India, they do accept students after completing their grade 12. The grading system will be different. In terms of IB, grades are from 1 to 7, but IB has also worked very closely with all these universities to get recognition for the students. Especially in India, the Association of Indian University, which is one of the highest one, and under which there are all the universities are covered under AIU, gives eligibility certificate to our IB students so that they can enter into the college, whichever college they want after post grade 12. These grades, which I said 1 to 7, are then converted at that point when you apply for eligibility into percentage, and then the student will enter, submit those documents to the college. Grade 7 in IB, in Indian context, it is around 96 to 100, anywhere between that. And usually schools or the colleges, they are very much familiar with the system. So they take midpoint of 96 to 100 to give them admissions. I would like to mention one point here, that some of the colleges give admission on those predicted scores, because the IB final exam in most of the schools in India will happen in May, and the result will come out in July. But college application happens much prior to that. Based on the predicted scores or forecast grade, what a school provides, admissions are given, and the seats are then confirmed later when the actuals are out. There are also colleges like as I mentioned, Ashoka University, Flame, Kriya, these are the ones who will take the students in without a final exam report. The diploma program examination happens twice in a year, in November as well as in May. Some schools, they offer November session and their results will come out in the month of January. So if someone is looking at the IBDP course or the school, you should be looking at what is the academic cycle of that school. For medicine, if a student is wanting to step into medicine, I would suggest that the student should take physics, chemistry, and bio at higher level in the IB diploma program. Now, again, these are the subject choices which we counsel them when they come to us if we know what are their future goals. And of course, for the engineering examination, students should naturally keep physics, chemistry, and mathematics as their subject choices, and they are then well accepted into those colleges. Students are ready with the content. I would like to mention that because they study that at higher level in IB diploma, but the assessment pattern for medicine entrance or for NATA or for engineering would be different, and student may need some time to prepare before sitting for those examinations. Even some of the financial courses, the competitive exams of that, students with the content will be very well ready. These are the two websites which are open websites where parents or students can find more information related to specific course, because every student is unique. Based on their interest, they can look at how these programs are accepted in our Indian context as well. I've spoken enough about, do the career options in the country require international perspective in education? And I would say that I have already said in my previous slides that what would you ask, or what qualities do you look at when the candidate comes, and when anyone in any sector is looking at hiring those candidates? And that's what teamwork, collaboration, adaptability, good communication skills, flexibility are some of those skills which are equally important research skills. Probably that is what we are looking at. So in other terms, international perspective will definitely bring that more into the students. Having said that, we all have grown up in the national curriculum, and it is up to individual how you want to carve your path or just design your pathway for future. And if, as adults or students, we believe in lifelong learning, then all these things are naturally going to come to all of us. Will the students have enough time to prepare? And I have already said that that they will take some time, because the assessment patterns are very different. In IB, you're asking students to apply their knowledge. You are giving them the platform where they are probably able to analytically look at the given question or have case study and then produce the answers. And in our competitive exams, probably students' mindset has to go towards multiple choice and a quick way to complete those assessment, which will take other type of training to sit for those kind of examinations as well. The next topic which I want to touch upon today on remote learning and how are we as international schools are coping up with online learning. As I said, thanks to technology, which is easily available, and more so, international schools, they do give focus on technology, the resources, what they have, through which that transformation on online platform was little easier than probably the other schools. But at the same time, we did face challenges in terms of defining guidelines for our children. We wanted our children to be in the whole process of learning to be engaged. And hence, quite often a teacher would pose a question or do some activities so that students are well engaged. We use the breakout sessions so that students can mingle with each other. And also with the timetable, what we have looked at, that not just the traditional subjects, but students also get experience about PE, or do the visual arts, or do the other activities. And activities like even yoga and meditation are some of the just quick 10 minutes for a teacher to do it in the class, to settle the class and move on. Definitely disciplines and the rules are all in place, and we believe that it's a partnership between students, parents, and teachers to make this online success success to make this online platform more effective for everyone, as learning cannot stop for these children. You may have the question in your mind in terms of how do we decide that which school to take and which curriculum. So I would wrap up by saying that every student is unique, and as parents we need to evaluate that what are the interests of the student, what is the aptitude, what will be the future goal, what is the learning style of my child, and of course the school ethos or values, what school believes in. And based on that, you can make a choice of your destination. With that, I would end my today's talk and leave some time for question answers with the quote from Rabindranath Tagore, that don't limit a child to your own learning, for he or she was born in another time. With that, I would like to once again thank the Drshtikon team for inviting me and giving me this platform to talk with all of you today. We can now open the session for any questions we may have in the chat box, and I will hand over to Darshini now to help me again with the questions. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jasmine Ben, for such an informative session.
Yeah.
I'm sure most of us participating in this session today did not know much about the methodologies followed in the international education system. Your talk has made it all clear for us.
Yeah.
As Benjamin Franklin has said, tell me and I forget, teach me and I remember, involve me and I learn. So must appreciate the international methods and practices of teaching, of involving students and getting the best out of them. So there are many takeaways today for our participants from this session, Jasmine Ben. Students need to be well informed, develop creative and critical thinking, collaboration, teamwork, adaptability, which you said is most important, leadership, communication skills, technology, and many more. So thank you so much for such an informative session. I will move to taking over the questions. The first question is from Jayashree Sampat. She is wanting to know which curriculum is better, IGCSE or IB, for typical Indian parents and students aspiring for technical education and careers.
Yeah. So I would again go back to the same thing, that I'm not going to definitely talk about that and that which is better, because the reason is that individual or every student, as I said, is very, very unique. And when you talk about unique, you need to look at which will, what will be the learning style. For example, when you talk about IGCSE program or A levels give you the choice of having probably 2 or 3 subjects. Along with that, if you want to pursue your passion, you can also do that, and then go for the technical colleges, where IBDP students, it's a rigorous and challenging program. They study not only 6 subjects, they also have 3 other areas to cope up with. And it's not that these children will not be ready, but again, do you also want to do other, say for example, sports? You want to pursue your and make your career in sports along with this. Yes, if you manage your time very well as a student, you may be able to do it. Otherwise, you look for the other options. So it is very difficult to draw that line that only this particular course will or will be better fitted into the technical area. I would put that way.
Yeah, so I guess it's all about what you are aspiring for and where you want to be in future. So
Absolutely.
maybe it is a little difficult to plan right from the beginning of schooling, but when the kids reach middle levels, middle school or higher schools, I
Yes.
guess they can take a
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank
Absolutely.
you. Next question is from Ajay Bhai Jasrani. Do you think online education system can be in any way equated to the traditional classroom and teacher in attendance, guiding the students and they helping out each other as a group?
So one thing I just want to mention this, that uh, technology or on screen, no matter whatever we do, will never be, teachers will never be replaced by that. You need that. Our humans are, we say that social animal, right? So they need that interaction and conversation. What we are trying to do with the online platform, that go close to what the traditional classroom would be in terms of defining the guidelines, or give them the sense of that, okay, this is the situation which we all are in, and we need to adapt to that situation so that there are no gaps in learning. So you're trying to put all those things together, and hence I said that it's a partnership between parents, students, and teachers. So definitely, we don't want parents to be, overseeing everything what's going on in the classroom. At the same time, for the little ones, probably you need parents to help them in terms of logging into onto the screen and all those kind of things. So it's like, for online, yes, balancing, going closer to the traditional classroom, but you can't replace human touch at all. Yeah.
When we're talking of online classes, Jasmine Ben, are there any side effects or which students are facing due to lack of personal and social interaction due to this kind of education system?
I think yes, yes, that is what we all have noticed. And as educators, we come together and we talk about well-being of our students as well. When children are in the school, they get those breaks, they get short break, they get lunch break to mingle, to go out, to talk with the friends. So sometimes, in last, I mean, we started online classes from April 1st, and we have seen even older children requesting us, can we have one class without a teacher? So on the Zoom, they want to meet together. And I think it is okay to give them that much liberty to come on the platform to interact, so that, their well-being is taken care of as we are looking at. So that's, I would say, absolutely okay. There are side effects, and one is well-being for sure. The second one, a lot of times parents are also worried about on-screen, too much of on-screen, what will happen to the eyes and all that. My question to the parents goes this way too. When children are in the school, are today's generation, they are on social media or on the digital platform for one or the other reason, right? And we see that happening very often. I would say let's stop the other social interaction and give only focus right now to little bit which is required, because we are in the lockdown situation where we cannot have kids in the classroom. So I would say that we can balance that out. At the same time, we also conduct a webinar with the parents and students with eye specialists to give them simple, I would say, activities or exercises, so that we say 20-20 rule. 20 minutes on the screen and 20 seconds you take a break and you go back to it. So you try to enforce all those things and take best out of the situation which you are in. Yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Taking the next question. The question is from Dhaval Bhatia. This is, does the school have to regularly get certified by IB or renew the certificate every year when they associate with any international curriculum? What is the approximate fee the school would have to pay for this certification?
So to get the accreditation, yes, there is a process of accreditation where the fees would be there for Cambridge separate and for IBDP separate, or for each of the programs of IB, MYP, PYP, this. This is called the authorization certificate. What fees? Fees will be up on the IBO website. So anyone can go on to that ibo.org and will be able to look at the fees, which is generally taken care by the school. The other question, or the related part of this question, was that whether you need to take that certificate again and again. No, authorization happens, and after that, not for Cambridge right now, even Cambridge is exploring that possibility, but for all the IB schools, as I said, in the 5th year of implementation of the program, there will be a team from IB visiting the school to see or to look at the standards and practices what the school has, whether those are in place or not. So that happens in every 5 years. IB also, as I mentioned about the curriculum, what they do, every subject goes through 7-year review cycle. They collaborate with the universities and other educators and look at whether this course is most current for the students and makes sense to have, and whether the depth and the breadth of the course is maintained. Now, when the new courses are out, IB is also looking at the evaluation time, that whether school is familiar with that system or not, whether they know about those changes. So that's another way to look at, or as I said, sort of quality checks for the schools. So wouldn't touch upon fees, which is up, but this will be the cycle maintained in all the IB schools for each of the program.
When we're talking of this international education system in IB schools, now in light of this new education policy, we have a question from Archana Sampat and few others, that the new education policy seems to be a lot more similar to the IB system. So please give your opinion, which would be better, or how do you think IB stands in light of?
Yeah. So thank you, Darshini, for asking that. I'm really pleased now to see that national NEP 2020 is out, and our government is thinking about that, right? Is thinking about and valuing what probably international schools are doing for many, many years. What are the few highlights which, which I really, when I looked at the policy and what I like, one is definitely about there are not going to be rigid separations between science, arts, and humanities, which we have in our current system. And it is high time that we do encourage vocational courses in our system, because not everyone is cut out for doctor and engineering program or medicine or engineering program for future, and they can have career path with those things. So I like that, those things for sure. Also, what the policy is saying, that if student enters in the first year of the degree program and completes 1 year, gets a certificate. So some kind of recognition is coming to the student, rather than saying, oh, you are no good and you cannot survive in this world, right? So even that will be in place. I don't know when, but I think it's a positive move for the government to think about, and this will need lot of training for the individuals, for the teachers, for the management, to for the schools and colleges to implement these kind of policies. But a good start.
Yeah, yeah, a good start, because actually I was reading about the national education policy, which says for graders 6th to 8th grade, they
Yes.
have a 10-day bagless period during the year. That's what they're proposing. So it
Absolutely.
sounded so interesting, to pick up vocational courses, or intern with
Yes.
carpenters, or
Yes.
artists, or different kinds of vocations, so that people choose, or children choose what
Yes.
they are best at.
They are best at, and this is where we I mean, a good move in terms of you're looking at, again, knowledge with understanding, rather than just studying and vomiting on the paper just for the sake of the exam. So focus is going towards that, which is very, very I think welcomed in our education system. Yeah.
The next question is, in India, parents are doing a rat race to admit children in schools at early age of 1.5 to 2 years.
Yeah.
But certain countries, schools don't admit children before 5 years of age.
Right.
Do IB schools in India follow the same policy, that is, of admitting students after 5 years of age?
Yeah. So I would say it doesn't matter the school is IB school or any other national school, right? These are just the norms set by individual school management, that probably schools would start from, say, for example, from nursery or from lower KG, and then moving to grade 1 and onwards. Again, going back to the NEP, which is out, our national education policy. Now, even in that, if you read closely, it gives a lot of importance to the foundation year, and what now government is going to now force schools to start formal education from age 3 onwards. So that is moving. So it's nothing to do with the board. It is the decision what schools are taking to implement the program. I would put that way. Yeah. Uh, but as I mentioned in my talk, you can start from age 3 onwards with the PYP program. That is formally the framework which was given by the IB organization as well. Yeah.
Okay. I have one question. In this COVID situation, there is
Yes.
a drop in the number of students who are opting for studying abroad or international studies. So, in light of this, there are many applications this year. Some surveys have said that there are so many applications for Delhi University and other universities. So,
Yeah.
in light of this, where does IB stand? What is the future in case people are looking at?
Looking at other alternatives, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so definitely due to the global crisis, there is imbalance, and no one can really say that how many would go to the foreign universities, and for various reasons for that. Where do these children they stand? As I mentioned in my, in my couple of slides earlier, that all other options are available if students they would like to go for, say, liberal art college, which we never heard of few years back, but with Ashoka, with Flame, with Kriya coming in our country, these children, they can opt for those innovative courses here in India, and they are well accepted. If I talk about Mumbai University, again, the colleges in Mumbai, whether we talk about Jai Hind, HR, Xavier's, all of them are accepting our students of the DP. So looking at, it's not necessary that all the kids will go abroad. If I look at even statistics on the IB website, around 40% of the students, they prefer to stay back in their own country to do or pursue their higher education or undergrad program. So it is happening. It was happening before COVID, and it is still happening. So really, students, few years back in India, universities or college people, they were not aware of that, what goes into the DP program. But now they are all very much aware of the system. They know what A levels are. They know what the IB diploma is all about. So kids are well accepted. Yeah.
Thank you so much. One last question I'll be taking, Jasmine Ben.
Yeah.
You spoke about transdisciplinary topics.
Yes.
Can you give an example of such topics in lower grades for maths, science, or social studies? So, the question is from Jayashree Sampat.
Yeah, definitely. So when we talk about how these will be integrated, the main big themes are, if you look at who we are, or we say time and place. So when those are the big areas, right? Or you take, say for example, I would take a theme as migration. Okay, this is just an example for the primary school. When you are talking about, again, migration you can look at from the lens of social studies, from the lens of scientific knowledge, from the lens of even if a community is migrating, then what are the other impact on their other financial status, or maybe looking at different countries where you again look at and bring little mathematics also in the picture. So there will be different topics which a teacher may take, through which you can make the connection of the subjects. Having said that, there are certain, I would say, certain skills which are like foundation. For example, in language, you need to know grammar to apply that. Teachers may take that small standalone class as well. Or, for example, for math skills, you cannot be, for migration, you can't be sitting and first teaching them the basic, the arithmetic operations of mathematics. So all those are definitely standalone. But then students can apply, looking at probably maybe trend. When I said migration, looking at the trend, then students can apply the graphical concept they may learn in the math. So there are different ways. These are just few things which are coming or popping up in my mind, but there are ways in which teachers will integrate in the classroom.
Okay, I think I'll take another question.
Okay.
When is the new education policy going to come in effect? And because the new policy envisages schooling up to 12th standard, how will this allow choice of main faculties? That is, choice of art or humanities or commerce or science. What is your view on this?
So again, when will that be? It is a big change what the government has looked at. So definitely they may have had discussion on the timeline. It can't happen overnight. We can't see that change happening. Probably what I see that it's a gradual change. You're looking at training your faculty first. You are looking at making, the school management aware of what are the nitty gritty of the policy, and those kind of conversations have already started on various platforms where people are looking at or dwelling into this policy and reading each bit of that to apply to their system. Because in our education system and national system, certain framework is there since many, many years, and to change that, it takes time over the period of number of years, as well as what government has to also look at what kind of workshops or teacher training courses we need for those teachers to make that change and be ready for the upper grades. Can we partner for vocational courses? Can we partner with the higher education, institutions, so that faculty will be ready? So it's not going to happen overnight. It will take a while.
Time. Yeah. On this note, I think we are coming to the end of this session.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jasmine Ben, again for being with us.
Thank you.
Hoping that all our participants today enjoyed this session. On behalf of Team Drshtikon, I once again thank our speaker for today, Jasmine Madhani, for spending this Sunday morning with us and giving us an insight into the international education system. I also thank our patient and interactive audience, because the session also was very interactive. I thank each one for being participative and attending this webinar. One important announcement is that this month, Drshtikon Talks, that is January 2021 onwards, Drshtikon Talks will be conducting the webinars only once a month, that is the first Sunday of the month. So do stay tuned and be with us on 7th of February. The next webinar would be on 7th Feb. Another announcement I have to make, we've been sending mails to all our participants. Please check your promotions and spam folders if you have not received any from us. Thank you so much. On behalf of Team Drshtikon and Dr. Hiral Asher, Kavya Vithani, and Darshni signing off today. Thank you. Happy New Year to one and all.